Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Sorry, I'm late tonight. Just wrapping some things up, but I appreciate anybody who is joining me, and I know I'm a little late. Nonetheless, let's get this on the road. Let's get this started. I'm going to check my YouTube just to make sure I'm on live, and then we're going to start this. Well, all right. Just got to make sure I'm live in case nobody comes on to join me. But again, thank you guys for joining me this Sunday night. Again, I'm sorry that I'm late. If you're new to the channel, please, if you're just watching the video or came over from another channel onto this channel and discovered our wonderful community over here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tuning in. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell and hit the likes, and also try to share it so we can push ourselves through the algorithm some more and reach other people around the world. And so tonight we're going to talk about a few things. I appreciate everybody joining me. If you are watching this on the playback, don't forget to put your in the comments where you're watching from, how you kind of came over to our community over here, and any questions you have, any things you want to kind of just talk about in regards to sharing with the wonderful community over here. Don't forget to put it in the drop it in the comments if you are watching the replay. And if you're watching the live, don't forget, we love to join in conversation over here on lives about the real estate and everything that's going on out in our not only nationally but globally. So we are going to first dive into a couple little things that have to do with state situations, and then we'll dive into a more broad topics per se around real estate. So, oh, dang, looks like my mustache is uneven from the way the side is. But anyway, so let's first dive into if you are local in the state of Georgia. I just want to bring this up, so I don't want to keep you guys too long in regards to this, because this is more for Georgia people in Georgia. So I just want to bring this up real quick, because this is what I've been sending over to my this is what I've been sending over to anyone who has recently either purchased a house in Georgia, whether it be with utilizing me or utilizing another realtor. And if you are currently a homeowner, I just wanted to kind of, basically bring this to your attention. What's going on, MHOA? I was going to say first, but too late. That's okay. Hey, what's going on, David? What's going on? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm like rushing tonight, but I just got finished. I have a client that I'm working with, and we put a deal in, and I've been going back and forth with the other realtor. So it's kind of quick, and I was a little late. But I appreciate you guys joining me. So I'm going to talk locally real quick, and then we'll talk more on like a national scale, because it's some shocking stuff that I saw. What's going on? Good evening, Lang. I got Lang, got my dad James on here, everybody on here. But so let's dive into this first. So if you guys have a home currently, if you're a homeowner, or if you just recently bought a home, I know in the state of Georgia, not sure if it's nationwide, but every once you buy a house, if you buy a house in December prior the year, the end of December per se, and you want to file, or October or whatever, say 2024, you bought a home and you want to file for a homestead exemption. It usually typically happens in Georgia from between January 1st, to April. You can file for your homestead exemption. I'm not sure how it is in other states. David, let me know. MHOA, let me know in regards to your homestead exemption. But in Georgia, we file. You can file in January all the way to April, and you have that time frame to basically try to freeze those taxes in regards to your homestead exemption. So if you guys don't know, if you're local in Georgia, recently this past election, people went to the polls, and on the ballot it stated it was on a ballot. Basically, it stated around this homestead exemption stuff, and people voted it. I guess they might not have fully understood it, but they voted for it. So it says local option homestead property tax exemption. Local governments begin public hearings to opt out of cap. Last November, 63% of last November, 60% of Georgia, voters overwhelmingly approved Amendment 1, the local option homestead property tax exemption. This constitutional amendment restricts local governments from increasing residential property assessments beyond the annual inflation rate, regardless of market value increases. The new exemption took effect January 1st, 2025, and applies to assessments levied by all counties, consolidated governments, municipalities, and local school systems across the state. However, cities, counties, and school districts can opt out of the cap To do so, they must follow certain state guidelines, including advertising their intent, holding at least 3 public hearings. The deadline to opt out is March 1st, 2025. After this deadline, jurisdictions will be locked into their decision for 50 years with no opportunity to reverse it. So I just wanted to bring this up. I sent this out to several clients of mine who just bought a house, several homeowners. I had some people push back in regards to me sending this information out. Everybody seems to think they know everything. I'm not saying I know everything because I don't, but I'm trying to bring people awareness to this. Being a realtor and making sure I stay on the whole national level when it comes to legislative things happening, especially in the state of Georgia. I always want to inform anybody that are homeowners, home buyers. David said, you're all good. You got to do business. It's all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, David. And so basically, I just wanted to bring this awareness to people that are local to Georgia. And if you guys don't know where homestead exemptions are, these are exemptions that help you in regards to whether like property taxes, if you have a home, if you're a homeowner, and you typically want to file a homestead exemption to help, cap some of your taxes. Also, after you hit a certain age range in Georgia, it's after 62, you have your senior exemption, and after 65, you're able to do your school exemptions. So this is going to affect homeowners. I don't know whether it be positive or negative, but I wanted to kind of get this out to anybody in the state of Georgia. You could just go to Google, type in your county. You can say, like, I live in Cobb County. You can say Cobb County, which I'll bring it up. Cobb County homestead exemption opt out. It'll come up in regards to your jurisdiction and any of the meetings that they intend, the 3 public hearings they intend to hold in regards to trying to opt out of homestead exemptions. And so, again, I just wanted to touch on that. And then I'm going to touch real quick on some of the public hearings that are happening in regard to that. So if you are in these particular counties, you can definitely go over and be a part of these hearings. So like I said, I live in Cobb. So we'll touch real quick on Cobb. And then we'll touch on Fulton, and then we'll talk about this shocking news that I saw in regards to this real estate market in 2024, and then also how people are kind of moving throughout America. It's so fascinating to me. And you guys give me your opinion. So let's touch real quick on Cobb. If you are in Georgia, we'll talk about this homestead exemption. Of course, I'll be there. So because I always want to know what's going on. I guess you can see I'm nosy. We'll kind of just go down here. So the Cobb County Board of Commissioners today announces its intent to opt out of the statewide adjusted base year ad valorem homestead exemption for Cobb County, Georgia. Cobb County incorporated and unincorporated. We have 2 different in our counties down here. We have an incorporated part. We have an unincorporated part. I currently live in the unincorporated part. Taxing jurisdictions will not be affected. So they're saying as Cobb County's existing homestead exemption for the county M and O will remain in place. So it says House Bill 581 was passed by the Georgia General Assembly during 2024 legislative session. An enabling constitutional amendment was subsequently approved through a statewide ballot question during the 2024 election in November. Within HB, which is House Bill 581, OCCGA 48-544. 0.2. I sound like I'm in a court system. 44, but I'm not a lawyer, y'all. Provides a statewide floating homestead exemption, which applies to counties, consolidated governments, municipalities, and local school districts. It says, while the homestead exemption automatically applies to all local governments and school districts, these jurisdictions may opt out of the homestead exemption for their jurisdiction by following certain procedures by March 1st, 2025. Cobb County currently has a floating home exemption, which provides a greater benefit for taxpayers. So in this situation, the Cobb County opting out of it can possibly help homeowners. But also, it's not just the county. Like they said, municipalities and school systems have the option to do that. So if you guys want to go to this hearing, I believe they're having one January 28th right here. So this is the address 100 Cherokee Street, Marietta, Georgia, on Tuesday, January 28th, 2025 at 7 p.m. or Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, 9 a.m. and on Tuesday, February 25th, 7 p.m. So I'm going to go to one of those and just get more information in regards to that. But that is with that. So yeah, I don't want to bore y'all about local stuff in Georgia, but I'm like I said, I'm very fascinated and I like to keep abreast of anything legislative wise that goes on, especially in the housing market. and of course, particularly in my state as well, outside of just the general housing market. And then we'll switch over real quick to the Fulton County school system. So if you guys live in Fulton County, which is also the county in which Atlanta is in, thanks, Lang. Thanks, Lang. If you live in Fulton County, they have the school systems wants to opt out of it, of the ad valorem. So it says right here, Fulton County Education proposed opting out of the statewide adjusted base year ad valorem homestead exemption, and will hold public hearings January 14th and the 23rd to discuss the proposal. Let's go down here because I don't want to read the same thing all over again. I said the FCA news release said school districts has one of the lowest millage rates in Metro Atlanta. It relies on property taxes to fund general operations such as teacher salaries, instructional materials, safety initiatives, utilities, and facility maintenance. The news release said since 2018, taxpayers have benefited from a local property tax exemption at 3%, or the consumer price index, which is the CPI, whichever is less, ensuring that homestead property owners' tax bills rise no more than 3% per year. The newly approved state exemption offers benefits similar to those Fulton County homeowners already enjoy, but introduces uncertainties in the timing of tax bill finalizations and revenue collections. That is what Marvin said. Says, is it D. Reef? I'm guessing. Said staff recommends that FCS board opt out of the new state exemption to safeguard its financial stability and maintain consistency for stakeholders. If the school board does not opt out of the statewide exemption, it will create more administrative work for staff to confirm that the local exemption provides more benefit and will be used as an FCS spokesperson said. So basically it says right here, what FC wants to ensure local exemptions for ad valorem property taxes do not compromise the financial support essential for maintaining a high standard of education, balance, and support for seniors with fiscal responsibility, and crucial for sustaining the education system. So needless to say, like I said, I don't want to keep going on and on about this because this is a state, this is in Georgia, but I just want to, of course, let my Georgians know what's going on. And I don't want to bore you guys because I know you guys coming on here for more of like, you know, statewide real estate information. But I just want to tell people about that just because, again, homestead exemptions are very important and they help to cap our property taxes at a certain percentage per se every year. And we want to make sure that if you are on the verge of becoming a homeowner, or if you are currently a homeowner, we want to make sure they don't, they're not able to just effectively always just increase your property taxes and the plethora of different ways outside of, you know, how they already do it, where they kind of assess the houses in the subdivision in the neighborhood, and and that's how they kind of, you know, create those property taxes. And we know that property taxes help to, you know, it helps the municipality in total. It helps, you know, the firemen, the police officers, the school system. So we know we have to have property taxes because that helps to feed our municipality, our city, and things like that. However, we also want to make sure that we are not just being overcharged with property taxes. So if you are in Georgia, again, Google that. Make sure you're at those meetings. Make sure you understand what's going on. Make sure make sure you want to know how it affects you, whether positively or negatively. Yeah. All right. So anyway, that was a lot out of my mouth. So I appreciate everybody being here tonight. So this is what I found very interesting. If you guys don't know that, I was kind of shocked. So in 2024, this article right here by Realtor.com, I'm not sure if you guys seen this article. I'll make it bigger. It talks about, it says cash is king. So I know a lot of people probably already knew, if you didn't know, in like 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, there was so much stuff out there in regards to people, homeowners, and people buying in cash and all this stuff. And so this article, which was released in January 18th, 2025, so just released yesterday, by Realtor.com, is showing how much cash is really out there and where the cash was being spent as far as the cities in which people bought cash in. So it says cash is king, Southwest City, where nearly 3 in 4 homes are paid for in cash, which is, I'm like, wow. Like, I know people have been buying homes down here in Georgia in this Atlanta metropolitan market and further parts of Georgia, they've been buying in cash because I've been seeing it on the MLS. But it's very interesting to see how these people are just, buying these homes. And I would like to actually dig into more of the data to see if are these like foreign investors buying this, or are these outside of, probably just second time homeowners, maybe baby boomers who have so much equity in their house they were able to sell it and downsize to another house, or maybe also you have people who have no mortgages and they just wanted to cash out their house again and move to another house or move somewhere else that was cheaper, affordable wise, even with property taxes and stuff like that. So it says house hunters willing to make an all cash offer on a property typically have a major leg up on their competitors who require financing because there is less of a chance the sale would fall through. And a city in the Southwest tops the list for all cash deals. Close to 3/4 of homes bought in Albuquerque. I hope I said it right. Wait, is that Albuquerque? I hope I'm saying it right. Albuquerque, I believe that's how you say it. New Mexico were paid for all in cash, entirely bypassing the often nerve-wracking mortgage process. So that shocked me of how many houses of first of all, New Mexico. I don't really know much about the New Mexico market. So if anybody is on this live that lives in New Mexico, or if anybody watches this live back that lives in New Mexico, I would love to know more about the market. Have you seen a shift in regards to home prices down there, appreciation, because you have a lot of people buying in that market? According to Realtor.com in 2024, you have 3/4 of the homes were bought in cash. That's crazy, y'all. That really shocked me. And the highest desert city with a population of more than 500,000, made famous as the setting of AMC's Breaking Bad, 71% of home purchases were all cash in October 2024, according to the latest figures available from Realtor.com. The median list price in New Mexico's largest metro was $399,900 at the time. So they were over there buying those homes and in that area, which is crazy. Hey, what's going on, Von Shay, Miko? Hey, Clark. I was stationed in New Mexico back in late 2000, so I could say now, LOL. Yeah, I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, I was shocked. Like when I tell you, I was shocked when I discovered this article and read this. Albuquerque's all cash share was more than double the national average of 34.6% of all cash home purchases. So it was double the amount, but also just seeing this 34.6%, it says nationwide. It says it was double it. So if you're doubling this, it's 34.6. So I'm thinking nationwide across the board, 34.6% homes were purchased in cash in 2024. And Albuquerque, that small area in New Mexico, the city per se, doubled it by giving you 71%. So that is, baby, where is the money at? Because I guess I'm not in the right place for the money. David said, wow, I wonder if those might be California transplants. Yeah, so that's what I was wondering too. Like, are people shifting there? And then I also was wondering too, David, that even with the unfortunate situation of the fires in LA, are more people going to kind of shift over there? Like, I know a lot of people will probably shift around LA somewhere closer by, if so, out of the areas in which they were at, or they might shift to a few states over, like we discussed last time, maybe Arizona, maybe Nevada. I know a lot of people actually, when I was living in LA, they were already shifting to like Las Vegas area, like the Nevada area, because it was cheaper. And I know stats have been saying that area has been had went up, but I think it's starting to soften over in Nevada as well, because I think a lot of homes are being built and all that stuff over there. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. It says Albuquerque is relatively affordable, which makes cash purchases easier. Says Realtor.com senior economist Joel Berner. It's also an attractive market for investors, and investors are generally more able to pay in cash or secure their own financing other than a conventional mortgage. Berner, if I'm saying it right, Berner, I think it is, adds that Albuquerque has led the national rate of all cash purchases for a long time, and the gap is growing. So it's looking like a lot of more investors are buying in Albuquerque. Like James said, he said, do you think the buyers are investors? Yep. So as it states right here that the buyers a lot of them are investors, David said, or if they are snowbirds coming from northern states. That's true too, David. They could be snowbirds coming from northern states outside of these investors that the article kind of states. It could be snowbirds moving over, trying to find a place to kind of hibernate throughout the wintertime. But and we want to hope that it's not all investors. It says that like right here, it still says a lot of investors are purchasing there. Close to 3/4 were paid in cash. This says right here, the share of purchases made in cash, Albuquerque versus national. So this kind of gives you like a graph of what was purchased. So Albuquerque is in the blue. It's showing like the gap. But nationwide, that's still a lot of homes, even nationwide compared to Albuquerque. Even though Albuquerque is this gap right here, like they said, double the amount at 34.6%, but it's still a lot of homes being purchased in cash in general, outside of just investors. And we know that, again, like they're saying in this article, it's going to be a mixture of investors. It's going to be a mixture of corporate investors, mom and pop investors, first time investors. You're going to have some people, like we said earlier, that are either buying second, like David said earlier, maybe they bought a second house in another state, and they're kind of hibernating, or snowbirds. They're shifting for certain times of the season, or you might have some people that have cash in their house, equity in their house, right? And they're selling their homes, and they're downsizing, or they're shifting to a more affordable area, more affordable economy, and all those things like that. So David said, true, that makes sense. It would be tough financially to survive in LA. Everything is so unaffordable. Exactly. Everything is, very unaffordable in LA. I don't know much about their budget per se. Of course, I've been listening to, different CNN things, and reading different articles and hearing them talk about it. And they said that LA or California itself has like a deficit. I think most states have a deficit in their budget. But we all know too that California is one of the states that helped to like feed our our GDP. So I don't know if you guys heard that. The sound is on my computer. my email just wrong. But yeah, so we need LA, even though a lot of people have been talking about the fires, like we talked about last week, I believe. But the income, the taxes, and all those things, some of it generates throughout California to the different states in the United States of America. It says the West and the South lead in cash deals. So this is also interesting too to me, as far as like which cities had the most home purchases paid fully in cash. It says the top 10 cities where at least 40% of home purchases were paid for fully in cash were all located in the South and the West, including 3 in Florida, 2 in Texas, 1 each in New Mexico, South Carolina, Nevada, Alabama, and Tennessee. I just knew that Georgia was going to be on this list, which I'm kind of shocked, because if you guys don't know, we have a big corporate investor, especially in the Metro Atlanta area. We have a big corporate investor stock of homes per se. So a lot of these investors bought in the Metro Atlanta area. So I thought that Georgia would be on here, particularly more of the Metro Atlanta area, or maybe those other cities like Savannah, Augusta, and all that stuff. But these are the states and some of the cities per se in which these people have been buying in cash deals, whether it be investors or home buyers. So it says, Bernard said that it's because properties in those parts of the country are generally more affordable than other market sectors, which we kind of know. Coming in at number 2 behind Albuquerque is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I've always had plans to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I've never gone. I've always was supposed to go with a friend. She usually goes there every August, and I was supposed to go, and I never went with her. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, South Carolina, because when I went to Greenville, South Carolina, it was very pricey. So it says where all cash home buying deals accounted for just shy of 56% of residential real estate purchases during the same period, with the median list price standing at $340,000. So South Carolina came in at number 2, and which is very interesting, 56% in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So they're being very specific to the cities in these states. But 56% of of the homes there, they didn't say if it was an investor or homeowners, but 56% of the residential was purchased in cash. The next one, it says the city of Northport, Florida, sandwiched between Tampa and Fort Myers along the coast, Gulf Coast, saw all cash home purchases top 47% in the fall, when the median list price hovered around $224,224, landing it in the third spot on Realtor.com list. I'm like, this is crazy. Where is this money coming from outside of the investors? Well, I know some people said they kind of took from their 401k. Some people had like investments in certain areas and shifted money around. So I can see how money can come from everywhere, but it's just very interesting when you start reading some of this, the information put out there. According to Bernard, the South Carolina and Florida locations have been attracting deep-pocketed house hunters looking to snap up beachside condominiums as second homes. And that is another interesting thing too, in regards to people looking to buy the condos in the state. As far as we all know, what happened in Florida, the seaside, the surfside situation. So it's very interesting. People are still out there; they're still purchasing condos. I know down here in the state of Georgia, I'm not sure if it's in your market too, David, but I know in Georgia we are now they require a condo questionnaire to be sent out. And that needs to be answered by the HOA. And then they also require that the master insurance policy is kind of up to date and it covers enough in regards to buying a condo nowadays. So I don't know if every market is kind of seeing those same things when it comes to lenders asking for that information. But I know in Georgia, that is something that we have kind of started putting in place because of the condo collapse in Florida. David said, I wonder if Myrtle Beach and those other cities have a little more lax Airbnb regulations. Maybe that helps draw investors. That's true too. That's true. Having that, like you said, a lax thing in regards to Airbnbs, single home rentals. I don't know what their HOA situation is looking like as far as subdivisions that are being built. I know a lot more subdivisions that are being built. They have HOAs, or I think it's CCDs. I think it's like community something, or CDD, something like that, community development or something. They don't really have that down here in Georgia. It's more like Florida, that CCD or CDD or something. So I don't know. I wonder if that is why people are purchasing in Myrtle Beach, because that is a vacation destination. That is somewhere in which people might want to go and rent an Airbnb at. They might not want to stay in a hotel. So more investors are kind of flooding towards more of, which makes sense in regards to more vacation destinations. So yeah, that probably is. That might be something. But I just wonder, like I said, in regards to the communities being built there now, because I know, like I said, in Georgia, a lot of our new subdivisions that are being built, and I think it's happening nationwide, a lot of these new subdivisions are requiring that HOAs be implemented in regards to the subdivision being built. So that would be interesting to know. It says in January 2024, the share of home buyers who made all cash offers stood at 32% nationwide. So 32% nationwide was all cash buyers. I thought they said 34.6, but I guess 32% nationwide, marking the highest rate in decade, according to National Association of Realtors report from last March. So let's kind of jump down some more. It says all cash deals. It kind of talks about the whole thing of mortgaging. We have an all cash deal. So they're basically telling you guys the difference between somebody wanting to take an all cash deal versus a financing deal with a lender per se. It says real estate investors and vacation home buyers, like David had mentioned, vacation home buyers make up the majority of all cash investors. So that would make sense in regards to those cash investors. Repeat buyers are also more like to make an all cash offer rather than first time home buyers, because they can use the money from selling their previous property toward their next purchase, which we kind of stated earlier, how we have a mixture of these investors. Like David had mentioned, like some people buying vacation homes, and then also what we stated earlier, that some of these buyers are repeat buyers, so they're second time buyers. They might not be first time home buyers, but some of them might have a mixture in there somewhere. But most of these second-time home buyers already have money from their other house, the equity. Some of them, if you guys don't know, I believe it's like either 38 or 40% of people in America don't have a mortgage. So, and one of the house, so I'll give you some insight. I just recently helped a homeowner sell their house over here in Georgia, and they didn't have a mortgage. I have another homeowner that I'm working with as well. She doesn't have a mortgage, so they sold their home. The homeowner that I just helped them sell their home in Marietta, they sold their home for in the $500,000 price point. The other homeowner, I'll be helping her with her home probably later in the year because she's trying to figure out where she wants to shift to. If not later this year, it'll be next year. Her house is worth in that price range as well. So a lot of these people, some of these people who don't have mortgages, they're shifting because they want to. They're little, they're baby boomers or they're a little older. They might be like the silent generation, baby boomer generation, and they want to kind of shift and downsize. The kids have left the house, or and they want to still keep a space there for if the children do come home, but they might not need 6 bedrooms no more, right? It might have been a family of six, a mom, a dad, and 4 kids, and maybe at this time, 2 of the kids went off, got married, had their own relationship, bought their own house, or live in their apartment with their significant other. Maybe only 2 of them are living at home, so maybe they say, okay, well, instead of us having a 2-story, 6-bedroom house, let's downsize to a single family 4-bedroom house, right? So some of these people are selling their homes that they don't have mortgages, and in order to downsize to something that's comfortable, they can pay all cash for it. That's what I've been seeing with some people. They can pay all cash for it, and be able to, just basically pay your property taxes. And if you decided to be in an HOA community, you'll pay HOA fees and that home insurance if you want to, keep the home insurance on the house. So it says U.S. cities with the biggest share of all cash purchases. As we know, Albuquerque's New Mexico is number one, 71.4%. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at 55.8%. Northport, Florida at 47.4%. Austin, Texas at 47%. And look at the medium list price, $520,000. $520,000, and people are still buying all cash homes. And I know that most of them are probably investors. Cape Coral, Florida, 43.8%. Medium is $429,900. Houston, Texas, 43.2%. Medium price $369,450. We scroll down, Miami, Florida. So again, one of those, as mentioned before, one of those kind of vacation destination places. 42.4% at $525,000. Las Vegas, Nevada, 41.6% at $475,000. And then we're going down to Birmingham, Alabama, 40.4% all cash purchase share. And then at medium price, $299,947. And then Memphis, Tennessee at 40%, 40.3% at $334,900. So those are the kind of the data in regards to where those cash offers are coming from, what's going on around, that way. Lang said, wow, cash, that is awesome. Yes, people are paying in cash, and it definitely is awesome to be able to pay in cash. We all want to be able to one day get to the point where we can pay things off in cash. So now that we kind of talked about that, I wanted to jump into like we were talking about earlier, as far as what David had mentioned in regards to how people are shifting. So if you guys don't know, it's a website called Resi Club. I like looking at Resi Club as well. And they kind of showed a little bit about the migration happening around how people are shifting throughout America, where they're kind of migrating from, where they're shifting from. And so I found this shocking as well and fascinating as well. So I'm going to let me know too. Sorry, you guys. I feel like I'm rushing. I feel like I'm talking very fast. So if I'm talking very fast or rushing through it, please let me know so I can slow down. Like I said, I found some of this fascinating. What did David say? Sorry, I missed this. He said, it is not required. We have the questionnaire. It is a good practice. Maybe it is required. We don't have a large condo market. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we don't I don't want to say Georgia has a large condo market either. We do have a lot of condos down here. I feel like because it's becoming very dense down here, we are seeing a lot more of building up. Typically, when you start coming to southern states or states that have a lot of land or space in which the city can kind of track out more per se, as far as public storage, water, and things like that, and electricity and all that, you'll typically they'll build out wide and not up. You kind of see more of things being built up in the city or like those more dense places. But because Metro Atlanta is becoming a little bit more dense now, they are building up, and with them building up, they are creating more condos down here. Outside of that, they are I don't know if they're doing this in where you're at in Omaha, David, but they are converting old apartment buildings that were 3-story apartment buildings, 2-story apartment buildings. They're converting them to condos down here as well. So like old buildings, they're converting them to condos. So because of that, the lenders kind of want us to basically, get those questionnaires outside of course, what happened in Florida. So we're seeing more of if you don't have those questionnaires kind of filled out, or if the condos don't have that master insurance policy and those things that need to be outlined in it for it to pass the lender guidelines, they are not approving the purchases of the condos. So I have been seeing I have seen several, like I said, purchases of cash down here in Georgia, but that's why I was kind of shocked when I saw where the most purchases were at as far as cash. And I know people have been talking about New Mexico and the cash, things going on over there and in the West, and of course the Sun Belt states. But it was shocking to see that. So David said we do have some of that too, probably not to the same scale as Atlanta. Okay. Okay, so you guys are seeing similarities in regards to some of the things that we're seeing down here. So when it comes to like the net, so this is also stating where the migration is happening. So it says net domestic migration, which states are gaining and losing Americans. So it says while some belt states like Texas and Florida continue to see positive net migration, so it's less domestic migration than during the pandemic housing boom. So this was article was launched in January 8th, 2025. And so right here it says these are the top 5 states. Basically, they saw the biggest net domestic migration increase between July 2023 and July 2024. So of course, Texas was number 1 at 85,267. North Carolina, 82,288. South Carolina, 68,043. Florida, 64,017, and then Tennessee, 48,047. So these are the states that saw the most increase in the migration from different states. And so these are the 5 states that saw the biggest net domestic migration decrease between July 2023 and 2024. Of course, California at 239,575 people left California and between 2023 and 2024. So that also it's fascinating to me in regards to that number too, because I need to go back and kind of dig and see what the number was when the pandemic happened. Because again, this is the migration shift after the pandemic per se, the results of what happened, of course, after this pandemic, and also inflation too. So it's been a migration out of a big decrease out of these states. New York, of course, 120,917. Illinois, 56,235. New Jersey, 35,554. And then Massachusetts, 27,480. So all these states 2 through 5 are all northern states. Are all eastern states and also northern per se. And California is, of course, a very expensive state on the West Coast. So I only could imagine that they kind of, left those places. And it says, while some belt states like Texas and Florida continue to see a positive net migration, it's far less unbound migration that those states saw during the height of the pandemic housing boom. Indeed, Florida saw net domestic migration of 64,000 in 2024 compared to 314K in 2022. So in 2022, they got 314,000 people moving to Florida. And in 2024, 64,000. I don't know how Florida's housing market is starting to kind of crash a little bit because I'm like, that's a lot of people in Florida. It says, of course, I know Florida is a, even though we see stuff on the map, Florida is still a big, every state is big, right? But just to hear those numbers. So it says like with Texas in 2024 is 85,000, but in 2022, 220,000 people migrated to Texas. And so right here, they basically say like to better illustrate what's going on. So where Americans moved in 2024. So right here, you see the negative is in this orange color. The blue is the positive color. So it's showing like all the states. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's showing all the states that lost, how many people that, kind of left the states. So, of course, I'm in Georgia. So Georgia, we got an influx of about 25,000 between 2023 and 2024. I'm pretty sure most of them probably came to the Metro Atlanta area because it's so much traffic down here, you guys. It's ridiculous. A lot of traffic. David said, looks like Georgia has had nice growth. Yes, we have some nice growth. We got too many people down here. I'm a part of some like these club, like these Facebook groups on Facebook in regards to like Atlanta and stuff. And you'll get people in there and say, I'm moving to Atlanta, and people will be in a group like, we're full, don't come here, we're full. They'll be like, we're full, we're full, we don't need no more. But yeah, we've had a nice growth of people down here. Texas, of course, a nice growth in regards to, like they said, 85,000 people shifted to Texas. They were actually the biggest kind of growth right there. People left, what's this, Alaska, I believe? Hopefully it's Alaska. If not, I need to learn my geography. But it's showing how people kind of left these states. California, of course, the big one, New York, which we would know. We would see the shift in these states because these states cost, they're more expensive to kind of live. So, but it's very interesting to see the migration, see what's happening, and then also to see the whole thing in regards to like even Tennessee. Because I know some people have reached out to me and they talked about shifting maybe to Tennessee, the Nashville area. So seeing like Tennessee up here, and I had a lot of people, even like Facebook friends, that had been shifting to North and South Carolina. So I know that these states have kind of seen growth, but it's very interesting. Even like random states that you guys wouldn't, thinks kind of seen some growth in, where they kind of states that are losing some people. But definitely go check that out if you guys want to. You definitely can go check it out and see. David said, we tax people too much and it's cold. Today it's 8 degrees. Oh wow, 8 degrees. I'm like, I felt like it was a little chilly down here. It was like 30 something degrees down here. I think it's supposed to shift lower probably to the teens tonight. But even though I'm from a northern state, so I'm like 8 degrees. I'm like, oh, 8 degrees. But I'm like, I'm used to weather like that as well. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm used to the Nebraska weather. I'm used to like New Jersey, Pennsylvania weather, New York weather. So I've experienced those days and those large snowstorms and those hails and those winds. So, but you guys be nice and cozy over there. Stay nice and warm. Sit by a fireplace if you have it. You never know. David said I might move to Georgia. You're gonna come to Georgia? I'm like, hey, we're seeing a lot of people come down here, so hey, might as well come down here and join everybody. We're in Georgia. The one thing I can say that's good about Georgia is that this state still experiences all 4 seasons. Like we still experience winter time, we experience the fall, we experience summer and spring. So it's like you're in a southern state, but you still experience 4 seasons, right? So that's a good thing I can say about Georgia, because you have some states that you might not get to experience all the seasons. So Georgia is a state that you can definitely experience the seasons. So yeah, so that was some of the of what's kind of going on in regards to that. And I'm going to shift into what did Lang say? Delaware is supposed to be 6 degrees on Tuesday and it's snowing here today. Oh wow. So see, everybody's experiencing the cold weather, the snow and stuff. It's supposed to snow. If you guys probably seen it, and I think we talked about it when I came on live. It snowed in Georgia, in Atlanta metropolitan area, and it's supposed to snow again this week too. So I don't know. So I guess we probably will all be reporting about the snow come this week. It's already snowing in Delaware, but we'll probably all be reporting about some type of snowstorm happening, whether it's today or Langston is snowing now in Delaware throughout the whole week. So we got to come back on Sunday and report our snow updates. The district may move to virtual learning on Tuesday. Okay. Well, Well, hopefully they move to because you guys don't want to be out in the snow on that ice, and be safe up there. But hopefully they'll move it to virtual. I forgot that tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day, so school system, federal systems, and different things like that are off. I'm like Tuesday, but yeah, I forgot. But happy early Martin Luther King Day as well, for everybody to come tomorrow, since I won't get to talk to you guys tomorrow because we won't be on here. But now I'm gonna shift to something that the New York Post reported from, which is so funny because we were just talking about one thing in regards to how people are shifting and then how people are paying all cash in 2024. And then we kind of shift into 2025. Yes, Lang said happy MLK. If my computer doesn't freeze. Happy MLK. Yes, happy MLK to everybody. If you are watching this Monday on the replay, watching this Sunday night and it's 12 o'clock in your area, means that it's Monday, 12:01, I should say. So happy Martin Luther King Day. To everyone. But so this is interesting. If you guys don't know, we are experiencing let me pause this because I don't know if this is going to be if they're gonna be like, oh, you watching the video, and they try to hit the channel. I'm like, we don't make no money over here. So but I don't want them to, boot my whole channel off like the way they kind of booted TikTok away. And now it's back though, now, y'all. TikTok is back. So if you were a TikTok lover, you were on TikTok, the app is back up. But anyway, it says like home prices are falling fast in these 10 expensive and popular cities. And so it says the residential real estate market is slowly shaking off cobwebs of a sluggish year of buying and selling, and quick thinking buyers stand a good chance of snapping up property at a lower price than in 2024 if they know where to look. And so I kind of wanted to bring this up. It depends on what market you're in, right? Because again, real estate is local to your market, and then it's also not even just your market; it's local to the location, the city, as far as in the market. Because you can have one city where home prices, like a house, is on the market for less than 3 or 4 days, depending on where you're at, and it's off the market like that. And then you can have another city in the same state where houses are sitting longer. So I wanted to bring this up because I am working with a client right now. And like I always like to do when I always talk and have conversations is one, of course, read the data, information, but also kind of related to what might be personally happening with me in the real estate market at the moment. And so I wanted to kind of talk about this because it says in more than half of 50 large US metros, medium list prices have plunged year over year, with San Francisco leading the way with a 10.87% decrease, according to the Realtor.com December housing market report. Nationwide, the medium list price decreased by 1.8% year over year, settling at $402,502 last month, even as the price per square foot inched up by 1.3% during the same time, pointing to a glut of smaller and more affordable homes on the market. Mortgage rates, of course, we all know, are at a 6-month high, climbing to 6.39% for the average 30-year fixed home loan for the week ending January 9th, according to Freddie Mac. But the Realtor.com 2025 housing forecast projects that mortgage rates will average 6.3% across 2025. So this is very interesting. What's going on, Eddie? What's going on? What's going on? I'm sorry I couldn't make your live today, you and Christina's live. I was working with like I said, I kind of jumped on here late too. I'm working with a client right now, and I've been going back and forth with the listing agent in regards to the deal to kind of, make sure we get everything, under contract and stuff like that. So it's been a very busy day. He said, make sure to serve your community. That is truly what tomorrow's about. Exactly. Like Eddie said, make sure to serve your community. Make sure to, of course, if you can, go out, volunteer, and definitely give back in some way, in some form. So that is what MLK is about. That's what those other days are about in regards to Memorial Day. Of course, we memorialize our veterans, but we also want to serve our veterans as well that have helped save our country. Veterans Day, different things like that. So these type of holidays are days to serve. So I definitely agree with Eddie. Make sure you are serving the community in some way. She said, welcome, everyone. Yes, I gotta let me see. So let's go over here. So yeah, so basically it's just stating how the market is kind of shifting down, which we're hoping we honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth, I've been hoping that it would shift down. Um, because I've been saying this over and over again, and I know some people aren't a fan of what I say, but the housing market is very unaffordable, and we want to make sure people are able to obtain home ownership. There are several different ways to do it outside of just purchasing a home, whether with a financier as far as a mortgage or cash. You can go different routes. There are different programs available. You know, you can utilize NACA if you want to. You also can look at home Habitat for Humanity as well as another outlet to kind of get home ownership. If that's something that you dream about, let me know if the screen is freezing or my end is freezing. But definitely, it's all about um, if you want a home, find a way and being a good steward of finances. This is a conversation I was having in regards to when it comes to buying a home. So this is personally me, and I don't want to get nobody. I don't want to ruffle your feathers. But what David said? It would be nice if buyers can buy before they are 60 years old. Yes, it definitely would be nice. It definitely would be nice, David, if people could buy before they were 60. We want people to be able to have a home. Like that is part of the American dream, right? Um, like I said, the way things are going now, I feel like it's going to be a luxury to own a home sooner or later. It's not going to be an American dream no more. But we want people to, and I feel like I'm always kind of beating this drum every time I come on a live, and I don't want to be like the drum major at the front, like do 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 do, same trying to kind of beat on the drum. But we want people to that people who want to obtain home ownership because everybody doesn't want to be a homeowner, and I'm not in the business of forcing anybody to buy a home or sell the home, right? Um, I don't want people to feel like that's something that they have to strive for. But I also tell people that if it's a goal and it's something that you want in life, you definitely should accomplish what you want, right? If you want to be a homeowner, if you want to obtain some type of equity in regards to or some type of stake in our country per se, and home ownership is definitely a goal that you should accomplish and you should achieve. And like I said, there's different avenues to get to it. You don't have to go through the regular financing route. You don't have to save up a bunch of cash per se, to buy the house in cash. Of course, you want to have some type of cash saved up in regards to whether your down payment, whether your closing costs, your earnest money deposits, different things like that. But you know, you also want to be able to successfully, get inside your house. But what was I saying? I feel like I'm going on a tangent, but anyway, I my biggest thing, and this is what I was kind of talking about with a friend of mine, and I also talked about it today with my dad on the phone. Is like I personally, I don't want to, I wouldn't personally want to buy a home and have a bunch of debt outside of just the mortgage, right? Because we all know a mortgage, unless you pay in cash, you have debt, as far as monthly payments until you pay it off, and it's a compounding interest as far as the debt, right? So I personally would love if someone was in a more financial position. So I would say if you can possibly pay your student loans off, get them down and get them off before you purchase a home. Be careful too when you do that because some instances your credit score will dip because you paid off your student loan. So if you're going to pay your student loans off, do it within a certain time frame so then that your credit score can rebuild so you can have a healthy credit score to get a better interest rate per se. However, everything plays factors, the interest rate, the debt to income, all this stuff. So it's not always, your credit score is what gives you the interest rate, but your debt to income and all that stuff too. Um, so you want to, if you have student loan debt, pay the student loan debt off. I would say preferably maybe a year before you start, just so you can give yourself some time to kind of recoup your credit score per se. I know some people say 6 months or whatever, 8 months, but I'll give and take a year. Also, I would say if you have a car note, try to pay your car off. If you have any credit card debt, because I have credit card debt, you guys. We're, as a I can't be on here and be like, oh, I don't have anything. I don't have this. I have credit card debt. So I would personally say, I have two credit cards that I need to get out of debt. I had a goal in 2024 is that I have a car note and I have two credit cards that I want to pay off. I paid my car note off and I want to pay my credit cards off. That's the goal. So that's going to happen this year. You guys keep me accountable, even if you come on these lives or even if you're watching this video on a replay and say, Devon, did you pay those credit cards off? Keep me accountable. And if you have anything you want me to keep you accountable of and you come on a live and we're live together, I'll make sure I'll keep you accountable for that as well. If you have goals that you want to achieve, things you want to accomplish, if you do want to become a homeowner and there are things you want to kind of strike off the list before you get to that point to do it, let me know. Let's keep each other accountable. That's the purpose of, this community in regards to talking real estate, but also achieving home ownership if that's something that you want. But like I said, I personally would want all my debt kind of clear, and all I would want is just my mortgage debt. That's all I would want. Everybody approach is different, but that's what I would want. So I always tell people, just see where you're at personally when it comes to you like you want to buy a home. If that's something that you want to do, or even if it's the time to do it. Sometimes it might not be the time to do it. And I know, things are going up and down as we move throughout life. And I'm always a person too saying like you don't want to wait too long either because you don't know what's going to happen. But again, it's on your time, it's at your pace. And don't allow nobody to rush you through the process. But just make sure that you're in a great position to be able to afford the home when you get the home. Congrats on getting your car paid off. Thank you, David. Thank you. I was so happy. I had a car. I had my silver car. I had a Honda Civic hybrid that I had paid off. And I was driving that. Transmission went. I ended up getting a black Nissan Versa, and as I was coming out, I had bought it a year, like in 2020, 2021, I think I bought it. 2021, I bought it, and in 2021, it was gone. I was driving out of a Chick-fil-A with a friend in my car, and a young lady hit me, and my car flipped over. And I was, thank God that the light turned red, because if not, I would have been probably not here, because the cars would have kept coming because my car was black and it was nighttime. They probably wouldn't have saw the car. Probably would have been flying down the road because we were upside down. So in the car. But after that, I had to go out and get a white Ford. So it stuck me with a car note, something that I wasn't used to having for over 7 years. So I had to get it paid off. But yeah, so it's been interesting. It's been interesting, you guys. It's been an interesting couple years, things happening. Like I said, everybody, we're not prone to anything in life. We're all human beings. We all have different experiences. We all go through life moments. And all I can do is, thank God that I'm still here and don't allow anybody to get you down as far as this is turning into a whole seminar, a church seminar. But I apologize, you guys. But, just if you have something, I guess I would ultimately say, if you have something that you want to achieve it. If you want home ownership, achieve it. Like I said, I mentioned in this article right here, I was just wanted to kind of talk about it because we know the interest rates are, high right now per se. So it is creating a position where people are stuck and they can't afford to pay for a mortgage per se right now because it's very unaffordable compared to income levels. As far as growth wise, when it comes to any type of raises or anything within their job. And then also we're experiencing layoffs now where people are getting laid off of their jobs. And especially people that might have just even bought a home. I actually did have a person that I knew who had just recently purchased a home and then got laid off about a year later. So we're all experiencing life experiences. So we have to be there for people, our neighbors. We got to be very careful too, and stop falling into the trap of not talking to people or being scared to talk to people when we go out or interacting with our neighbors. I feel like we technology has brought us together, but it's also separated us where we kind of move in silos. So we need to be more conscious and aware of that. Yes, we are grateful. Yes, we are grateful. I'm on my preacher's my soapbox. But yeah, so in regards to the sales kind of shifting down, so if you are looking for a home right now, you might be able to score a deal on a home right now, right? You might be in that position where your market might be shifting to a normal balanced market, right? Where you get to play that negotiation game with the seller, right? Because the markets right now are not indicating a full buyer's market. It might shift like that. Again, depending on where you're at. Talk to your local realtor. If you're in, Omaha, Nebraska, you have David Matney, who's on the live right now. Head over, to his channel, like his channel, follow his channel, subscribe to the channel, and talk to him. Ask him what's going on in that market. If you're trying to buy a house in that market, Eddie Smallhorn, his wife is Christina Smallhorn. She's a local realtor in Louisiana. Talk to them because every market is different. And right now, depending on where you're at, your market might be hitting a balanced market where you have those powers to negotiate. And that's kind of what what I'm going through now. That's why I was late to this live, because I'm trying to negotiate something for a buyer of mine with a seller. Their house had been sitting on the market for 102 days. And my buyer wanted to come in about $10,000 lower, which actually is okay, because we have been searching since April, and I have been watching the market, and we were looking in that subdivision before, and things happened, so she couldn't do it at the time. However, a house had closed in the subdivision, a similar house, for 205, and this house is listed for like 217.5. So excuse me. So we kind of offered 205. We feel like, that's a fair price. It's been sitting on the market for 102 days. The buyer, she's not asking for any closing costs. And so we felt like, that's a fair cost. And the commission percentage was negotiable. So in turn, I'm taking a less percentage on my commission for her to be able to kind of shift that commission that I would get to understanding why we also kind of put that offer in. So it's like the closing costs plus taking a percentage on my commission off kind of equates to the number in which we threw into the pot. And also we're backing it up too, right? We know that there have been, from the research that I've done, there have been comps sold. We know the closing costs that have been given for these comps, because a lot of you guys might not be able to see this, but your realtor can. Well, in the MLS, they can see the closing costs and all those things, and financing terms and different things like that. So basically, just negotiating a deal, making a deal make sense. You never want to kind of put a buyer in a situation. So it's like trying to also see the market, see the area. I can't predict everything, right? But I can just look at the data of what's happening around the market, see how many. I usually pull up also a graph in regards to like what homes are homeowner occupied, what homes are investors. And I want to show you all this, but I can't, because if I put people's like name on here with their addresses, YouTube will strike me. They've done it before. Even though I'm just trying to show information, they'll strike the whole video, so the video will disappear if I put it up there. But I'll pull that for like the buyer, and then I'll highlight all the homes in different colors. Like, so if these are homeowner occupiers, it's this color, investors are this color. And I just do that just for the purpose of investors. I feel like just as much as they can drive a subdivision up in prices, they can also tank a subdivision in prices in the area in general too. So kind of want to know how many investors are in the area, what the market kind of looking like, and try to predict, because we don't know the future, but we can kind of predict what the appreciation will kind of look like, and make sure you're in a good area. Because as we all know, there's ups and downs in life, just like the real estate market. There's times when the real estate is up, and just like when the whole crash happened in 2007, 8, 9 era per se, 10, the market was down. So people lost equity in their house, depreciation happened, but they stayed in their house and it grew again. And now it really shot off in a pandemic to kind of exacerbate those numbers. So we kind of want to just put you in a good position, but we don't know ultimately where things are going to go, right? But anyway, it says more homes for sale means lower prices. In the South and the West, inventory last year nearly approached pre-COVID-19 pandemic levels. So we all know that. So it says Austin, Denver, Phoenix, and Nashville were the darling markets of 2021 and 2022, and places where prices went wild. I still can't believe they're not putting Atlanta, Georgia in here, because the market in Atlanta went wild. Like Georgia went wild. I guess not as wild as those markets, but our market went wild, and it's still kind of going wild down here. Like when I see some of these homes as far as where they're being priced at on the market and all stuff. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I literally had to call a realtor, and I don't want to feel like, I don't want to feel like I'm like that nagging realtor. But I was like, I have a question. How did you come about the number like that number? And I had called her, and she was like, and she's like, oh, I'm out at my son's basketball game right now. I can give you that info. I can send you over like the comps and everything later on, whatever. So I was like, okay, no problem. Just want to figure out how did you come up with that number? Because with my search and my comps that I'm seeing, I don't see how that number is feasible. And so, of course, did I ever get the number? Did I ever get the information from her or anything? No, she never called me back. She never sent me anything over because there was nothing to support it. So I'm always like, I'm very curious of how the number came about. And I actually went and toured the house too. So, because I'm like, okay, let me tour the house. Maybe there's something in the house. So she didn't know that I'm the same realtor that toured the house. So I was like, maybe there's something in the house that looks different, because again, Zillow and all those things, they can't tell you what a house costs from his estimate. And then also in our market, I don't know about your market, David, or anybody else who's a realtor that watches this back. In our market, people kind of put fake pictures or airbrush pictures or Photoshop pictures in the MLS, and then you go in the house and it don't look like that. So of course, I went inside this house. There was like a drywall, holes in the drywall, water stains in the ceiling, unfinished like rooms and stuff like that. And I was like, well, how do you get this number? And this house about to fall apart. But people, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But anyway, it says San Francisco is going through struggles. Of course, we know like those, California states. So San Francisco, a world-renowned tech hub crammed with the well-to-do set has earned itself a reputation as an uber expensive city, boosting a cost of 70% higher than the national average. So these are some markets. Let's kind of go down here. So these are some markets that they're kind of saying prices are shifting down. So again, if you're in those markets, this is the time to talk to your realtor and say, hey, whether you're, a home buyer, homeowner, occupier, whether you're an investor too, you guys, we're all people and people have their own strategies per se. Am I a fan of investors buying in the communities of homeowners? I'm not, but this is life and it's going to happen. And everybody has their own goals and own aspirations, so we can't knock people for doing it. But it might be this might be a market. I know that interest rates are higher per se. I know home prices are like, of course they're more appreciated than ever before per se. But some of these markets are softening. Are they going to go all the way back to like 2017, 2018 levels per se? Probably not. But you might be able to get 60,000 off. If the home seller has already adjusted down the price to like 50,000 off, you might be able to get another 20,000 off. Also depends on the price point too, y'all. So depends on the price point. Like I feel like if you're more going for those higher price homes, you can get a nice chunk amount off or a good amount of closing costs. If you're going for those lower homes, depending if they're homeowner occupier, it might be hard to get as much off per se because some of these homeowners might need some of that equity to kind of shift over to another place. But you never know. This is kind of like I said, almost easing towards a more balanced market where you can play around with those negotiations if you're looking for a house. So just talk to your realtor. David said, we have some of that, maybe not quite bad. Yeah, we have a lot, David. So I'm like, I was talking actually to my dad today on the phone because even this deal that I'm working right now that I sent over. So I'll get rid of this, you guys. Sorry, I don't want to make you look at this screen. And then we'll I'm gonna do one more thing about new construction, and then we'll kind of, call it a night because I don't want to keep you guys on here too long because I know if you are not off tomorrow for Martin Luther King Day, you definitely have to get up to go to work. Did I freeze? I think I froze. Okay, I am. But I was talking to my dad today in regards to this because like I said, I have a deal that I'm working with my buyer client, and I reached out to the agent, right? Because when I send over any type of offers, I always like to put the offer, of course, the purchase and sale agreement, but also get a seller's property disclosure. So if there is a homeowner occupier, get a seller's property disclosure. In the state of Georgia, excuse me, like we kind of discussed on one of the lives, you don't this state doesn't require you to have a seller's property disclosure as long as it's like verbal and no one is intently trying to lie about any disclosures per se on the house. However, I definitely make sure that every buyer gets a seller's property disclosure. It is kind of hard to get it from someone who's an investor because they'll say they never lived in the property. Even though I sometimes I kind of question that just because I know you never lived in a property. However, if you had tenants in the property and if the tenants broke something or you had to fix something in there, you know what's going on in the property, even though you haven't lived in the property. If you have a maintenance company, the maintenance company will probably contact you. And then they'll say, just because I know this from experience, the maintenance company, they'll contact you, management company per se, will contact you and they'll say, hey, blah, 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 something broke in the house. Like one of the houses I was working, I was partnered with my friend in Jersey for investment properties. There was a house, one of the houses that the tenants in there kept, they broke like the outside banister railings, and then they broke the railing inside the house. So the management company called us and was like, hey, the tenants broke this. We got to get it fixed. So you kind of know what's going on in the house. Even though that's the way in which people bypass it, which in the state of Georgia, they'll give you a latent defect seller's property disclosure, and you can't really argue against it per se with the investors because they can say, well, technically we don't have to provide you anything, and we're providing you this. But with a homeowner occupier, you are going to provide my buyer with a seller's property disclosure. So needless to say, I needed that. This community does have an HOA, so I needed the community association disclosure. And then now with the new NAR rules in the state of Georgia, we're required to, if you're listing a house, it's good for you to provide a pre-showing compensation agreement. And so that basically just states, because we can't put the compensation amount on the MLS per se, it states how much the seller is willing to give the buyer's agent, if any, as far as compensation. And so I reached out to the realtor of the seller. I'm like, hey, but my buyer's interested in putting an offer in. Can you please send over, the seller's property disclosure, the community association disclosure, the pre-showing compensation, the F-258, and things like that. And so she was like, yeah, I'm in a meeting. I'll send documents over. Never got the documents. Then she's like, are you sending the offer over? And I'm like, yeah, but we were looking for the documents because we want to make. I always want my buyers to review the documents, whether it be a seller's property disclosure, a community association disclosure, before we just put an offer in. We want to know where things stand. We want to know how old the roof is because we know after a certain year it's hard to insure a roof. We want to know if there's if the any systems have been serviced. We want to know how old the water heater is, and HVAC system and all that stuff. We want to kind of know. Has anything, has there been anything that happened in the house? Just give us some insight, right? We want to know. We want to read into these things. We want to understand what the buyer's about to purchase, right? And then also the community association disclosure. We want to understand how much is the monthly fees. Are there any special assessments? Are there any delinquencies inside the subdivision? How many? Is there a rental cap? How many rentals are in the subdivision? We want to know, do they have enough reserves in the funds and all that stuff? Because some of these HOAs, so this particular community too, this HOA management company, I guess, because it's probably people like me that always call the HOAs and want to know all these questions, like, are there any delinquencies in the HOAs? Are there this? Like, I asked a bunch of questions. Some of them will pick up the phone and answer me. Some of them won't answer me. I have been told by some of them that, the seller can ask the questions. You don't live in the community. And then this particular HOA, this management company, they actually want you to pay for it. I'm like, I ain't paying for that. I ain't trying to be rude, y'all. I know you're probably like, Devon, you the buyer agent, you supposed to help me. I'm like, I'm not paying no $200 for some general questions that should be answered. When somebody's trying to buy some in a certain subdivision, I shouldn't have to pay for a general question that should be answered. So basically I was, trying to ask the realtor if she could just, basically ask her seller to get those questions answered, because I don't think it's fair that you have somebody trying to buy in a subdivision and you want them to pay an additional $200 something to purchase, almost like basically for somebody to fill out a questionnaire per se in regards to certain questions. So yeah, but But yeah, I was asking, the realtor for all that information, and she was, she was like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." And then she texted me like, "Hey, are you sending an offer over?" I'm like, "No, not until this stuff is done." And then she, and then she was, and I knew this is actually the third realtor that I ran into this, well, not this year, because I was, last year into this year, that have not sat down. I don't feel like they're sitting down there talking to their sellers or their clients, because when I'm asking you for things like this, what Lang say? Lang say we need more realtors like you. Well, I'm like, there's a lot of realtors out there like me, but there's a lot that aren't like me. So I don't want to hate. I don't want to, like, discourage, or I don't want to talk. I guess talk badly about realtors, because these are my colleagues per se. But I also want to be very I also just want to make people aware, when you're choosing a realtor and you're looking to work with a realtor, outside of the wonderful realtors that I've known and I've become, excuse me, Jesus, I'm like so gassy. Out of the wonderful realtors that I've been able to, communicate with, like David Matney, Jen Sylvester, Jackie Baker, Christina Smallhorn, Joe Pareca. I feel like I'm always saying his name wrong, but I'm like all those wonderful realtors, but they're not in Georgia with me. And I have my Georgia realtors too, like Key Morrison, Lauren Clark. There's a lot of wonderful realtors down here too. In Georgia, Raven, she's a new sales construction agent realtor. So there are a lot of them too. But thank you, Lang. I thank you. So but these are just these small things that I would tell when you're working with a realtor and you're trying to buy or you're even trying to sell. Like, there should be no way that I'm asking for these documents and they're not coming over right away. And I knew, like I said, this is probably like the third time this has happened within the last maybe 2 months, that I knew that the client never filled out the documents. And when I got the documents actually yesterday, it stated the date yesterday. This house has been on the market for 102 days. There should be no excuse that you have not seen a seller's property disclosure if you're a homeowner occupier. There is no excuse that if you live in a community association, HOA subdivision, that you have not seen those documents to fill that out accordingly. So if you are selling your home and those documents are required to do it in your state, I suggest that when you have the conversation with your realtor, you say, "Hey, what are all the documents that I need to complete and the beginning of this process?" Yes, more documents will occur depending on what state you're in. Georgia, we are a closing attorney state. So yes, you will get additional documents which you have to sign, which are instructions to the closing attorney. And now, because of new NAR rules, we have different, like, broker compensation agreement documents that you have to sign throughout the process and stuff like that. But those documents will come, later down the line. However, if you're a seller, you should be filling out certain documents outside of just the exclusive listing agreement. Like in Georgia, we also have to fill out a SOAR, like a plumbing and a SOAR form document that has to be filled out. I want to make sure, if you are selling your home, that you have access and you can give me your a copy of your deed. I want to make sure you are the owner of the home, because we have a lot of fraudulent things going on, and you cannot sell a home unless you're the owner of the property. And so that's why I've been trying to make some of these probate videos as well. We kind of talked about this already, but that's why I've been making some of these probate videos, because I've run into people, that have worked with other realtors, and some realtors didn't know that if a person has a POA, which is a power of attorney, and the person passed away, they went and put a person's house on the market to sell. And I'm like, you cannot do that. You have to go through probate. When a person passes away, the power of attorney to that person passes with that person. So it's just like small little things. So that's why, like, it's great to have conversations with each other. You want a realtor, and a realtor, you guys want to nurture a relationship together. You want to make sure you talk to each other, have open dialogue, feel comfortable enough to talk to each other. So you want a realtor that you feel comfortable talking to each other, and vice versa. All right. So all right, I'm not going to keep going down that rabbit hole. I want to do one last thing before I get off of here. I wanted to kind of show, like, some of the housing market indicators, but that's going to take too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a video And I'm going to this guy. He's a wonderful guy. I don't know if you guys follow him, but I subscribe to him on YouTube. His name is Inspect Flicks. Inspect Flicks. So go over there and check him out if you don't, and subscribe to him. Check out some of his videos. So he is talking about new construction, and I kind of wanted to kind of swing over to new construction in regards to, I know some people are going to go to new construction route because I know people love I always say people love pretty things. That's the reason why when you go to the supermarket, you get all the colorful items. They like people like pretty and colorful things. That's why they dyed salmon pink and all these different things. That it's about, it attracts people to pick it up and want to buy it or eat it or per se. And so I know a lot of people will, if they are in the process of trying to buy a house, whether it be now or going forward, because of what's currently going on. Well, I know in my market, let me pinpoint this to my market. The subdivisions that are being built down here in Georgia, they're offering a lot of incentives and concessions or in interest rates or in buy downs and things like that. And so because of that, people are kind of going over there because they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to, a resale. I'd rather get a new construction. What I've been seeing lately is that people who are second-time home buyers per se, I've been seeing them kind of shifting to more resales, just because on a resale end, with resale houses, you kind of get maybe more sturdy builds per se, depending on the years that it was built. And then you're also getting more of a bigger kind of acreage of land, a little bit more square footage as far as the rooms being a little bit, and also the rooms being a little bit bigger within that floor plan. Because you're still getting some houses that have big square footage that are being built as well, but maybe some of the rooms in those floor plans are a little smaller compared to some of the resale homes. So that's what I'm kind of seeing. I know everybody's market is different. So if you are going to shift towards that new construction, I kind of wanted to show you this video. The inspector. He is a home inspector, and his channel is called Inspect Flicks. So I'm going to share it, and we're just going to kind of look at it a little bit. He's going to talk to us a little bit about some of this new construction, and things that you kind of want to be aware of when a new construction. So the first thing he's going to talk about is the warranty with new construction, what comes, how they come with some of these systems, and how if it's not utilized, if it's not what did he say? If it's not put into the house correctly, or if it's like damages or something that occur when it is placed on the house, you can't utilize the warranty. So let's listen to it.
So code inspections are designed of the location, what state you're in, environment, and how it should be built. And that's going to change in all these various areas. However, what a lot of consumers don't know about is the actual products that are made, from shingles to air conditioners to furnace to the appliances inside your kitchen. All these types of materials have a warranty from the manufacturer that actually makes the product. They don't install it, the builder installs it, but it has to be done within their standards of installation requirements. If it's not installed right, they can waive their warranties on the actual material. All right.
So that is something you guys want to be mindful of when buying a new construction. I don't want to scare you off from buying new constructions, but I just want to, get you guys more of an understanding. So again, go follow his YouTube channel. It's called Inspect Flicks. And he was basically just stated in regards to the warranty, these items, these materials, they come with warranties. And if they're not, done correctly, as far as placed correctly, installed correctly, things like that, they can waive the warranty on those items. And I know everybody is always told when they buy, new construction, they come with this amount of years of warranty and these different things and warranty. So want to be mindful, because most people outside of a home inspector, when we buy a house, we're not like, okay, let me go, this new construction I'm buying, let me go over and see if the shingles are put on correctly. Let me, get on the roof. let me see if the HVAC, the air condenser, which is that's what sits outside of for the air conditioner, for the AC structure for the air conditioner. The air condenser is the metal thing per se. I don't want to say generator because it's not a generator, but the metal box per se that sits on the side of your house, that's the air condenser. Most people are not saying, oh, let me see if this is installed correctly, and might not even know how it's supposed to be installed, or insulation or different things. So, this little small things to be mindful of.
Today is July 10th, 2024.
Let's go here.
I renew my builder's license every 3 years. And when I go into that class, that training instructor tells me that I've never seen a code inspector get up on the roof. I asked him the question and he said, no. There are some fun facts that I learn every time I go in there. My training instructor always says 1 in 10 builders actually has a license. And that's a scary thought of statistics. So that means a lot of contractors that are working on homes don't even have a license. The other thing is the code book is rated at a D-. That's coming from my training instructor from the state of Michigan. So let's start right up here in the front.
So he's in, like he said, he's in the state of Michigan. So there are a lot of builders who are not licensed builders. Again, this all pertains to the state in which you're in, but these are just small things to be mindful of. I don't want to scare nobody off of buying new construction. Just want to make you guys mindful that when you are buying new construction, because like I said, a lot of people are going this route. A lot of people are going straight to the new sales agent, which is no problem to do so. They don't understand that it's okay to get yourself a buyer's agent to help you with the new construction purchase. It's not going to cost you anything in regards to compensation, because most of the builders are still paying, the agent's compensation fee. At the end of the day, I will never tell people that working with a buyer's agent or an agent in general is free, because of course we all have to get paid some way, somehow. So I always tell clients that, I'm going to make sure that the seller's agent is covering my compensation. And if need be, I will reduce it accordingly, to help you out. But I still got to get paid because this is a job and I have to make sure I can put food on my table. But generally, some new construction, the builders are typically paying, the buyer's agent compensation. So if you feel like, because I know some people, I've talked to some people who are like, yeah, I just went to the new sales agent. And like, again, that's okay. And they're like, yeah, because I didn't want to pay, a realtor. And you feel like, well, typically most of the builders, and I know in the state of Georgia, all the builders that are in the Metro Atlanta area, they're paying for the realtor's compensation, the buyer's realtor compensation fee. So if you are buying a new construction home, go get yourself a realtor to represent your best interest, because the new construction sales agent, which they are wonderful agents. I have a lot of them, great, cool friends that I've met through the new construction sales community. Very, informative, very knowledgeable, very skillful, wonderful agents. However, they represent the builder. They owe a fiduciary responsibility to the builder. So they're going to protect the builder's interests. And you are a consumer. They're going to make sure the contract is done accordingly and, up to terms, but they're not going to protect your interest per se, as if you had somebody on your side, like a buyer's agent, to protect your interests. It's almost like you have your own lawyer, right? So they have their own lawyer. They're the lawyer to the builder. Your agent is the lawyer to you, okay? And I don't want, hopefully nobody comes back on here on my videos, because sometimes people said this. I did a video somewhere else, and somebody got mad that I stated I was creating a relationship between lawyers and doctors and realtors and all that stuff. Now you don't hold standards like that or whatever. I'm like, it's an analogy. It's an analogy. But yeah, so you definitely do that. But let's watch a little bit more. I don't want to keep you guys too long.
With the cladding. Cladding is the siding, fascia, soffit, and trim. This type of trim here, there's nothing in the code book that requires caulk around edging of trim or channeling. And this particular stuff here is just extremely loose. It just pops right in. And down here, you can see, this is how I found it. It's loose. And I mean, back in there, you're looking at the house and water, or the ice and water shield, which is a code requirement. That's good. you know, so water can still get in here. Well, that's okay then, they say, that the ice and water shield is going to protect it. No, in fact, you don't know how that condition is going to last.
So that's interesting too in regards to their the coating stuff where they don't have to caulk stuff. So you don't have to basically seal it. You don't have to outside of the insulation where, like he said, that the ice cold stuff, padding per se that they kind of put in there for like any water and stuff like that. So it's kind of scary. David said, geez. Yes, I'm like, when you see these videos, again, you know, to try to bring best interest or try to protect, you know, your buyer per se. And of course, you can't protect people from everything, right? Things are going to happen. So you can't protect people from everything. But it's like, and again, I'm, you know, being a realtor, I'm not going to get on the roof of the house. Like, I could be as a wonderful realtor as possible, but I'm not getting on the roof because for some reason I tend to slip a lot, and I can't be slipping off nobody's roof. I've never, you know, I don't really do roofs, and I don't really do heights. But I'm just bringing this up in regards to the home inspection because I think some people feel like with new construction they don't have to get a home inspector. They don't have to do an inspection outside of the, you know, because they're like, oh, it's a new construction. I don't need a home inspector, you know. And I'm just bringing this like awareness to it that yes, it's okay to get a new construction if that's something that you ultimately want. But I want you to know that you need to still get a home inspector. And I know that there are some what am I about to say? I know that there's some new constructions communities where you can bring in your own home inspector, but they want to make sure that the inspector is licensed in the state of Georgia. So they will require that the inspector be licensed. But Lang said, wow, that is scary. I need all this information. Yeah, I'm not, again, I don't want to scare people off. I just want people to be aware and make sure, like, when you do get a home inspector, make sure they're a licensed home inspector in your state. Ask them if you want to, how frequently do they inspect new construction? Ask them, do they, you know, because some home inspectors don't like this is a very rare home inspector. I'm gonna be honest, because I have yet to see any home inspectors down here in the state of Georgia when we've done home inspectors get on the roof. They usually have the drones now and they've been taking pictures that way. But he's a very special home inspector. I wish he existed down here in Georgia, but you know, I have to find a home inspector that gets on the roof. I work with some wonderful home inspectors. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to, you know, discount them, but I've never seen one yet that actually got on a roof to do a home inspection. So I'm like, okay. What is it? Okay. David said, I'm not getting on the roof either. What's going on, Corey West? How you doing, man? Finally got a live. Hello, Clark. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, you got us at the tail end. We about to jump off. I'm just running my mouth and kind of showing people about this new construction. So if anybody's interested in purchasing a new construction, that basically tell them they should get a home inspection. And we're just kind of looking through this video real quick and just pointing out some things that this home inspector is seeing. But he's based out of Michigan.
Or function in the future here. It doesn't take much but just a little bit of caulk or silicone to get this to stay in there. Any high winds can easily take this kind of stuff off. There's another one over here. This trim board here, there's only one nail in it. Look at this. I'm barely touching that. This could come off real easy. One nail. Then we have the soffit. This is loose. This is how I found it. Where the birds are going to get in. And when you cut your lines here on this fascia, you don't overlap them like that. This is very sloppy.
Yeah, so what did David say? 20 years ago, it seemed like inspectors walked the roof. Not so today. Yeah, I haven't seen one. That's why I'm like, this guy is very rare. And I'm like, well, I wish he would come to Georgia. Because like all the inspectors nowadays that do inspections, and again, there's nothing, you know, wrong with them per se, but they all take the drone and they drone stuff over. You know, and typically if they do find something, I will typically call like a roofer and I'll say, hey, can you come over, give us a roof estimate? And then the roofer will get on the roof. But a lot of people aren't calling roofers because again, that becomes time consuming. Some of them don't do free estimates, so they don't want to come riding out, you know, to kind of give a free estimate. I've had probably about like the last couple transactions I've done, I probably had about maybe 4 roofers come to different houses after we did the home inspection, and they kind of flew the drone over and they saw some things. And I was like, all right, let's just get a roofer over here. Let's just do like dive in more, because of course they didn't get on, the home inspector wasn't getting on the roof. So the roofer came over and then they kind of pointed out different things and stuff like that. So yeah, we're not getting that many home inspectors that are jumping on roofs like David said. So it's just, just little small things when you're buying a new.
Very, very sloppy. And then with all the working that they've been doing up here, a lot of these are scuffed. And once again, scuffing up or improperly installing shingles can void out the warranty. Let's go take a look at a few more areas over on.
So like he's saying again, and no one's going to know that this stuff voids out the warranty if the shingles are scuffed, because again, you as a home buyer, you're not getting on the roof to see the scuffing of the shingles. So that's kind of move, because I don't want to keep you guys here that long, but we'll move over here to this one.
In the haystack, but look at this. That's a nail hole. Somebody drove a nail right through there. Didn't patch it, but it shouldn't be patched. The shingle should be replaced. Here's another thing I find. Lots of nails left here. I'll grab those later. But looking for the needle in the haystack. Here's one right here. See it? That's a nail head. It's out of its pattern. This is supposed to be underneath the shingle here. And this is somebody not paying attention when they're just whacking it in with their air guns. Let me show you another one on the back side here. Again, we've got ridge venting, very good. Plumbing stack, collar flashing. But these nail heads, they need to get sealed up. Some silicone. And then, once again, exposed nail head.
So he's kind of showing like the nails being exposed on the roof. This right here is the soffit. How he's kind
Have you ever wondered how these groups go out and buy 1,000 units?
Pause. Sorry about that, y'all. Probably because I keep pausing the video. Let me put myself back on the screen, because if not, I think what it'll do is they'll end up striking the video. But yeah, so he's kind of just showing the different things in the house, the new construction. Let's reshare it real quick. He's looking at the soffit now underneath of here, and he's showing how
soffit material in 2 locations that are not installed properly. You can see that they're sagging. I mean, look at that. It's just drooping, not even secured properly.
Sagging right here.
I don't even know.
But yeah, so needless to say, I don't want to keep you guys on here all night, but definitely go check out his YouTube channel. His name is Inspect Flix. Inspect, so it's INSPECT Inspect Flix, and he's a home inspector in Michigan, and he goes around and he inspects different homes, new construction. So if you are interested in buying a new construction, you guys, make sure you get a home inspector, and if you can, make sure you find a one that kind of goes and inspects new construction a lot and can kind of see those different things. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys next Sunday. Thank you, David. It's a great show. Thanks. Have a great night. You too. Have a great night, David. I'll talk to you guys next Sunday. I appreciate everybody joining the live. If you have any questions and you need to reach me, my email is below, dclarktherealtor@gmail.com. And if you're looking for if you're moving to any state throughout America and you just want a referral, whether it be Omaha, Nebraska with David Matney, whether it be Massachusetts with Jen Sylvester, Jackie Baker in New Jersey, Christina Smallhorn in Louisiana, or Joe Pareca in California, you can reach out to me as well, or you can go straight over to their channels and reach directly out to them and let them know you would like to speak with them further about the possibility of either buying or selling in their areas. But nonetheless, thank you guys again for joining me. I appreciate you hanging in there with me this Sunday. Thank you so much. That was great. No problem. And I will talk to you soon. Corey West said, what time does the live start on Sundays? So typically the live starts at 6:30 p.m. and we usually end at 7:30. I'm actually way over time at 8. I'm at 8 o'clock on my time. Yes, MHOH says 6:30 Eastern time. Thank you, MHOH. So that's when we 08. So that's when we always start the lives over here. But again, thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next Sunday. Take care and be safe and stay warm.